Hare Krishna, Lakshmi. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can anyone, can you hear me? Yes, now you can hear me. Okay. I guess it was the microphone. I don't know. My son's going to have to fix that. So we'll go back to reality here. All right. So we read this verse. Probably you didn't hear it because you couldn't hear me. And I apologize for that. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. So what is our prescribed duties? What are we supposed to be doing? What is that called in Sanskrit? We have karma and we have what? Who can tell me? Anyone? Premarnava, you know.
Dharma.
Dharma, there we go. Shri Hari, you get the extra points tonight. Dharma. So do your dharma, do your duty. That is your work. That is prescribed. That is what gives us direction. So it's very clear. This verse is very clear. It's one of the verses often quoted in lectures by my teacher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We have work. Let's use the metaphor of electricity, right? Electricity is one current. You can produce heat with electricity, or you can produce cold with electricity. It's one current, and depending how you run, how and where you run that current, you'll get something that's quite the opposite. So that's a good metaphor to understand what Krishna is saying here. We work, we must be active. That's what karma means. Karma means action. So in this particular verse, Krishna is saying, if you're active as an offering, and everything that we do, every action that we perform, can be done with the mindset of it being an offering to the Supreme. Whether you call him Vishnu or Krishna or Rama or Allah or Jehovah or Buddha, whatever the concept is, that this world functions wonderfully when there is cooperation. And that's true, isn't it, in our own lives? Cooperation. When we cooperate, when a family cooperates, and family life is very pleasant. When friends cooperate, when workers, co-workers cooperate, whenever cooperation exists, things work very smoothly. So what Krishna is saying in this particular verse, there is a structure to this universe, and we can realize the benefits, the universal benefits of happiness and contentment and peace when there's cooperation. So everyone must do work or action. So Krishna in this verse is saying, if there's cooperation between the Supreme and the subordinate, that means the jiva, the atma, the soul. When the soul is cooperating with the Supreme, then there's vice versa. There's reciprocation. The Supreme is giving of his abundance. So, jagnarta karmano nyatra, that means there's cooperation. That means all that is provided by the Supreme Lord, everything that we see, the earth by which we plant the seed, by which is nourished by the earth and nourished by the sunshine and nourished by the wind and the rain. All of these things are done. And when we begin to see with the vision that this is being provided for us, so the cooperative spirit is that I am going to show my gratitude for the abundance that is there. And that gratitude is demonstrated by karma, by action, jagnarta karma. So that means action that is performed as sacrifice. Action that is performed by sacrifice. Now, what does sacrifice mean? Sacrifice means that we are acting in a way that we recognize all that we are given, and out of gratitude, we are offering back. So how do we show our gratitude for the earth, for the seed, for the rain, for the sunshine, all of these things within the framework of the universe that provide us with abundance? How do we show our gratitude? By sacrifice. That means consciously offering to the Supreme. In the Bhagavad Gita, it's described, there's different yogas, right? We just studied Atma Gyan. In the second chapter, it's Atma Gyan, which leads into Karma Yoga. Atma Gyan means knowledge of the soul. So that yoga of understanding the distinction between matter and spirit, between the soul and the external world, that was called Sankhya Yoga. And that's the title of the second chapter. The third chapter is Karma Yoga. And what is Karma Yoga? Literally translated, connection to the Supreme Lord through action. And Karma Yoga means that there is still some desire within the heart to enjoy the fruits of our action. There's still some desire there. So within the framework of Karma Yoga, it gives us the opportunity to come to the point of elevated consciousness by which we do our actions with the understanding that they are meant to be an offering to the Supreme Lord. We still act within the world. We still work. We still do family. We still do all of our actions. But with the consciousness, we're cultivating a consciousness of gratitude, because sacrifice has three things. Karma Yoga has three primary things: sacrifice, that's in Sanskrit, yajna, and dutifulness, dharma, and gratitude. These are the three main components of Karma Yoga. Again, sacrifice, that we perform sacrifice for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Dutifulness, we act dharmically. And the ability, when we act according to Dharma, that means we are aligning ourselves with the laws of the universe. And that alignment brings us contentment. And when people act adharmically, adharma means not in alignment with universal laws, universal principles. One universal law, universal principle is to not cause unnecessary grief or anxiety or distress to other living entities. So when we have that ability, when we have the ability to understand that principle and to act on that principle, not to cause undue stress or anxiety to other living entities, and we're acting dharmically. Dharma means dutifulness, means responsibility, means understanding the laws of the universe supplied by the Supreme Lord himself. And we act in that particular way. And that means we are making a conscious endeavor to align ourselves with the spiritual principles given to us by God himself. I used the word previously, cooperate. That's the way we cooperate. That is the system. That is the design given to us by the Supreme Lord. The reciprocation. That's one thing. That's one wonderful thing, that we have the opportunity to reciprocate with the Lord. And as I said, Karma Yoga means sacrifice. So seeing with the attitude of we're offering all that we have out of what? The second principle of Karma Yoga, gratitude. We're acting out of gratitude. And that's a real motivating force. When we are grateful for what we have and what we are getting, that is a real motivating force to perform sacrifice, to perform yoga, and to become yukta. Yukta means linked. So we can become linked to the Supreme Lord, either through knowledge, through action, the action of that we're talking about here, sacrifice, dutifulness, and gratitude, that yoga, the Karma Yoga principle, or the yoga of bhakti. And bhakti means offering everything with a heart full of emotion, love, and devotion to the Supreme. And bhakti basically is a yoga system that only works if we accept and recognize and instill within our offering principle the understanding that God is a personality, has personality, a supreme personality, not like a material personality, but a divine supreme personality. And he's embodied when he manifests himself in the various avatars or incarnations. All the incarnations that are there, all the presence of the Lord that are there. These are incarnations. You can call him Ram, you can call him Krishna, you can call him Matsya Kurma, Vishnu, so many different names. Allah. It basically means a perspective of divinity that we're endowed with by virtue of the path we are following. In other words, when you look at the various religions, they're not talking about different gods, even though through lack of knowledge, they may say Allah is the only way, or Jesus is the only way, or Yahweh, and they may be very exclusive to that path only. But the Vedas, and their infinite wealth of wisdom, say, no, God can appear in many different forms as many different personalities. And we can realize or recognize him in a particular personality, a particular feature, whether it be Ram or whether it be Krishna or whether it be Vishnu or whether it be Allah or Jehovah. We can recognize based on our approach. Because what does Krishna say in the 4th chapter? As you approach me, the path that you are approaching me, I reciprocate accordingly. The verses literally transfer, as you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. A paraphrase of that is, the path that you are taking, that particular path, whether it's prayers, all of the nuances that create that specific path, whether it's the path of Christianity or whether it's the path of Islam or whether it's the path of Bhakti Yoga towards Krishna, all the nuances of that path help us to cultivate a certain perspective of God. Because why? He reciprocates with that perspective because of your approach. The approach is specific for that destination. If you're taking a specific path, then you are heading towards a destination. Tell you a story. I was in India once, in the Himalayas, and I wanted to go to this holy place, which is called Arjuna Gufa. And Gufa means cave. And this is the cave where Arjuna met Lord Shiva. And they had interaction at this cave. So it's a very holy place. So unbeknownst to me, I had never been there. There was really no markers to tell you where the cave is. The taxi driver dropped me off at the bottom of the mountain. And I said, I was like a little bewildered because I thought maybe it would say, a sign would say Arjuna Gufa this way or that way or this way. There was nothing there. The taxi driver dropped me off and he left. And I'm looking around, I'm going, there's no people there. And I'm looking around, which way do I go on the path? So the path, there was a beaten path. Obviously, it was used by either pilgrims or shepherds or both. It was a beaten path. I said, follow the beaten path, right? That's what makes sense because the beaten path has been traversed many times. So I start going and this beaten path in a direction, not knowing whether it was the correct direction or not. And I, finally I'm making my way up the mountain, but it seemed to be very gradual. And when the taxi driver, he pointed this way up the mountain and the path was going this way. And I'm thinking to myself, logically, okay, I'm no mountain guide, but I'm thinking logically, he said it was up there, this path is going like this. I better ask somebody. Shepherd comes down the path, and he doesn't speak a word, a lick of English at all. So he couldn't answer me at all. And he just kept going. And then I went up a little further, and there was a young man in his 20s, maybe. And he understood a little bit of English, but between the little bit of English that he understood and the hardly nothing of Hindi that I understood, and lots of hand signs, he understood that I was looking for Arjuna Gufa, and he started laughing because I wasn't going in the right direction. He started laughing. He said, "No, Arjuna Gufa, that way, that way." So the universal sign of help was this. And I said, "Can you show me the way?" And he started laughing again. He said, "Yes, yes, yes, yes. Follow me, follow me." Now, I'm an older man. He's a young mountain man, and he starts bounding up the mountain like an antelope, and I'm straining to follow him. And finally, I keep up with. I make my way, and he leads me, and then he points to the cave, which I had to go up further. I thanked him profusely, and he left me there, and I made it up to finally, I made it to this holy place called Arjuna Gufa. Fortunately for me, there was a sadhu up there, a saintly person who lived there and worshiped there, and he understood English. So we had a nice conversation. He offered me roti. We had roti together. We had a very good time. And he showed me the shortcut down the hill, which was great. So the point being is the path that you follow will lead you to the destination. So when you're following a path, that path and the nuances of that path will actually lead you to the destination. And you have to be very careful, because if your path is including many destinations, you have to start questioning that. You have to question, where am I going? What am I going to meditate on at the point of death? Because Krishna, in the 8th chapter, he says, what you are thinking of at the time of death leads you, propels you to your destination. That's why bhakti is a very specific path. You choose the form of the Lord that you are attracted to. For me, it was Krishna right away. I had the good fortune of immediately being attracted to this blue boy, this blue cowherd boy, who was God with his hair down. He was a musician. He was a dancer. He was humorous. He had all the qualities that attracted my attention. So that's why my specific path, my bhakti path, is a meditation on Krishna through chanting his names, doing the meditation called japa, through kirtan, which is the glorification through music and rhythm, and meditation on the mantra, and the study of the Bhagavad Gita, which is knowledge given to us by Krishna, and all the various aspects of my sadhana or my practice is leading me up the path towards Krishna and giving me insight, because bhakti yoga is a path of grace or mercy. So because one follows the specifics of their path and with love and devotion, there is reciprocation. To understand God, just like in Islam, they say you cannot look at a picture of God. There is no picture of God. There is no picture of Muhammad. They are too great to be understood or to be seen. And that's true. God, or his representatives, may be too great to be understood, but they can reveal themselves. Just like if you go to the White House and you say, I want to speak with President Trump, what are your chances of speaking with President Trump? But if you know someone who is good friends with him, They can actually bring you in and introduce you. So similarly, the path that we accept, the path that we embrace, it's all right to be a seeker. It's all right to be a seeker, but eventually your search, your seeking should lead you to a path that will directly direct you to a very specific aspect or perspective of the Supreme. And then there is actual direct interaction, direct reciprocation. It's just like when you meet somebody, right, and you interact with that person, then you develop a friendship. And the more you interact with that person, you see their qualities, their attributes, you see so many things about them, and you say, I really like this person. So you either make it a point to see them more often, to do things, to seek their association, or not, depending on what's revealed to you. And then the relationship grows stronger and stronger. And what happens as a result of that relationship growing stronger? You develop a love for that person. And depending on the flavor of that love, it could be friendship love, or it could be, like a senior person that you have much respect for, and you show them kind of like, that respect as a senior, that kind of love. Or actually the friendship grows. I really want to be with this person. And then you say to yourself all the time, and then the nature of that relationship is it can become very intimate. So this is the kind of loving relationships that are there, that are offered to us by the Supreme. And when we perform our sacrifices and our sadhana, etc., with a specific smaranam. Smaranam means a remembrance of the name of that particular personality of Godhead, of the qualities of that person. That's why the Vedic literatures are so wonderful. Because if you read, for instance, let's just say hypothetically you're a devotee of Krishna, and you read the Bhagavad Purana, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and you get Krishna's name, the various names of Krishna: Govinda, Gopal, Shamsundar, Raman, all the different names of Krishna. So you have names of the Supreme Lord, Mukunda, all the names of the Supreme that you meditate on. The qualities. In the Bhagavatam, it talks all about Krishna's qualities, how he's humorous, how he's deep and intelligent, so many different things. So it gives us something very tangible to meditate upon. So our action, when Krishna says Jagnarta Karmano Nyatra, so when it says our actions should be an offering, well, who are we offering to? That's a very important quality, an aspect of our sadhana. Who are we offering to? Who are we recognizing as our meditation? Because Shiva is different in terms of Shiva, and the meditation on Shiva and the qualities of Shiva is different than Krishna, or different than Vishnu, or different than Ram. So if one is attracted to Shiva, then one, studies the qualities of Shiva, chants the names of Shiva, one who has that attraction to that personality, that aspect of divinity. Then one has to go deeper and deeper that way. So in my sadhana, in the Bhakti Yoga sadhana that is given to us in the Bhagavatam, the qualities of Krishna are there, the names of Krishna are there, the description of Krishna's form, right down to his toenails. Now, many of you are my friends. Can you describe my toenails? No, it's not like you meditate on my toenails. They're kind of gross. But Krishna's toenails are wonderful. They're described as like rubies because of the tone and the purity. So every dimension, every aspect of his form, one can meditate upon. So name, so it's nama, guna, rupa, and lila. Those four aspects of Krishna and his divinity can be meditated on. And that gives us a very complete picture, in terms of our meditation. When we are meditating on God, then what are we meditating on? Can't just meditate on those three letters and expect intimacy. But if you meditate on God's qualities, God's form, God's names, and lila, nama, rupa, guna, lila, God's pastimes. Why does he come to this world? To give us pastimes, wonderful activities that he performs, so that what? The aspirant devotee can meditate on that. And what a full-blown meditation that can be. What a full-blown picture that can be in terms of your meditation. So when Krishna says here, Jagnartat karmanonyatra, all that you do, all your actions as an offering to me, we know what Krishna likes. It says there in the Bhagavatam. He loves butter. He loves yogurt. He loves cream. He loves kheer. There's a description of everything that he loves. He loves Radharani. A description of everything that he loves. So we can link that in our meditation, so that our meditation becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. Premanjana charita bhakti velochanena santak sadaiva hrideesho lokayanti. What does that mean? Premanjana. Prema means love. As one develops love, then we get to know when someone loves you with all their heart and you feel a reciprocal emotion, then it's easy for you to reveal yourself to that person. How? By being very comfortable being you. When you first meet somebody, there may be a little trepidation. I don't know how I should act in order to gain this person's attention, et cetera, et cetera. But really what you want to be is authentic, right? You want to be genuinely you. You don't want to put on a charade. I'm like this. Oh, I'm so happy all the time. I'm so, and then, then the real you comes out. It's like, oh, yes. Right. No, you want to be able to authentically reciprocate and act with this person. That's how a relationship develops. So we want to be authentic with God. And the more authentic and honest we are in terms of our meditation, the vision becomes clear within the very core of our heart. And we are carrying that vision around 24/7. So it's easier to link, to be on the platform that Krishna is asking. And then Krishna says, if you don't develop this, then what? Loka yam karma bandhana. So what does loka mean? Your world. Karma bandhana. You're bound. Your action is devoid of that relationship. That relationship is the freeing potency. Relationship with God is actually creates a freeing or a liberating or a liberation potency within it. when you establish that relationship. So Krishna says, when you act and you're not connecting, then that action, it may be the very same action, right? You walk past a rose bush, right? And then you pick that rose. Now, at my house, every rose that we pick, we don't smell. We go offer it to Krishna. This is yours, Krishna, for your pleasure. And then later on, once Krishna has appreciated the offering and accepted it, etc., then later on, it's called prasadam. It's the same thing with food, right? We make a nice preparation. We're not standing over the pot tasting the sweet rice to see if it's sweet enough. No, in our meditation and by intuition, divine intuition, we get a sense. Isn't it true? When you cook, Premarnava, do you cook at all in your household? Does your wife cook?
Sometimes.
You sometimes cook, right? And isn't it a fact that the more you cook, the more intuitive you become about how the preparation is going?
Yeah.
Right? You definitely become more. I know with me, I've had the great fortune in the course of my devotional life to cook a lot for Krishna. You become very intuitive, you even become, I didn't salt. I didn't put salt in the dal, or I didn't put sugar in the milk or the sweet rice or what, you kind of, Krishna, a super soul within the heart, says, hey, you didn't put salt here. It's not going to taste good. And sometimes if you're oblivious to Krishna's communication, you may forget totally, and then you have to add it later. But the point being that, the more you do something in love, in service, the more intuitive you come, and the better it becomes. So Rose, Krishna offering this, such a beautiful, when I see roses coming from our rose bush, it to me, that is such a miracle. It is so beautiful. It comes in so many different colors. We have like 3 or 4 different colors here. We have white, we have yellow, we have deep, deep, deep red, like a wine red, and we have a bright red. So when I see that, and not only, that's not the end of the miracle. It's beautiful. And that's not the end of the miracle. It's fragrant. And that's not the end of the miracle. It's soft. It has a texture, a fragrance, a form. It's all beautiful. So that gratitude grows when one's cultivating this relationship. So see what we're missing out. If we're following the path of loko yam karma bandhana, we're not making the connection. We're not making the endeavor to connect. Oh, this rose, good, wonderful. Oh, this apple off the apple tree. Wow, that's great, sweet. It's just a flick of the perspective switch. That's what our sadhana does. It helps us flip the switch of perspection that this is coming to, it's called gratitude, really. It's coming to me from the mercy of the Lord. And therefore I should demonstrate my gratitude by making an offering. And Krishna says here in this verse, you do that, what's the word here? Karma nyatra. You're free from reaction in this material world. So that's a wonderful verse. I've spent a lot of time on it purposely because it is such a wonderful thing. And in karma yoga has, as part of it, sacrifice and doing your dharma, knowing what your dharma is. And basically, the devotee follows the principles of Sanatan Dharma. There's a prefix there, not just Dharma, but Sanatan Dharma. Because Dharma means you can act morally within the world. Sanatana Dharma means you're acting morally within the world as an offering to God. It's an inspiration to act in this particular way because it allows you to get closer to God. Just acting moralistically doesn't gain you entrance into that relationship. It may make you a better person. It may help you to be closer to sattva gun, goodness, to be a good person, but it doesn't allow you to gain entrance. So dharma, dutifulness, responsibility, morality as an offering. That's what karma yoga is. It's an offering. We learn to offer. And then the third aspect is gratitude. And within sacrifice, there's three aspects of sacrifice. Dana. Dana means charity. So when you're saying I'm going to perform sacrifice in remembrance of the Lord and to build up, my perspective of the Supreme so that I'm connected, greater connection. So there are three aspects of sacrifice are dana, charity, puja, the worship, and sangha, association. These are three aspects of sacrifice for the practitioner of yoga, karma yoga, or bhakti yoga. Charity. And charity doesn't mean, giving to a person out in the street who's going to take that money and self-destruct. I know most people are charitable by nature in the heart, but charity, according to the bhakti yoga system, is we don't facilitate someone's destructions or self-destructive behavior. So if you see a homeless person and you feel for that homeless person, and quite naturally, a soft-hearted person would feel, better to give something to them that they can't abuse, like food, like prasadam. We sometimes have prasadam in our car. Someone's begging on the street to come to the car. And if I have an apple, for instance, I'll give him the apple. Because if I give him $1 and then he goes to the liquor store and he buys, Thunderbird wine or something like that, then I've just facilitated his destruction. So when we talk about charity as incorporated within the realm of sacrifice, we mean with charity within giving with intention, good intention, a noble intention, an intention that will uplift rather than cause their demise. Puja. Puja means worship, and there are various aspects to worshiping the Supreme. In this day and age is called Kali Yuga. The best form of worship is kirtan. To sing out your heart in glorification. Now, kirtan is not musical performance. If you have musical ability, okay, to use that musical ability to make a nice offering. Just like if I'm trained as a chef, and I use that training to prepare nice food as an offering to the Lord. That's great. If I'm a musician and I have training how to play an instrument, a guitar, a keyboard, a drum, etc., and I use that God-given ability as part of my offering in kirtan, that's wonderful. Or a trained voice, that's great. So kirtan is part of our puja, our worship. It is a very sacred and intimate time where we are connecting with the Supreme Lord with our voices, which are coming from our heart. If you've ever studied vocals, singing. I don't know if any of you have ever studied vocals, but they tell you that the breath can come from different parts, from the diaphragm, from the chest, from the throat, and it gives you different tonal qualities, and you learn how to draw upon them. So if you have that ability and you can sing nicely, all these are part of your puja. So study can be part of your puja. What you're doing right now, swadhyaya, the study of sacred texts, that can be part of your worship, your puja. Why? Because you're having darshan with Krishna right now. He's giving you instructions personally. That's part of your puja. And as you get into more and more aspects, deeper and deeper aspects, then you can actually have deity forms or a picture and meditate on that picture or service to the deity. All of these things can help in terms of your puja, your worship of the Lord. And Sangha, association. We are so fortunate. We're unfortunate in Kali Yuga, but we are fortunate in many ways in Kali Yuga in that we can click a button here and have association with someone that may be miles and miles away, and take advantage of that association by conversation, by study, so many different things you can do regular. Just like every Tuesday night, we're getting together. We've created a sangha, and we're associating with each other. And this is nice. This is part of our sacrifice. And this karma yoga, it assists jnana, your study, and bhakti, your devotion. It helps in that. Okay, so I put a lot of time into that verse. Let's read 10. 10 reads as follows. I'll just do the English now. So 10 reads as follows. Whoops. There we go. Okay. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation." So here's the point of this verse. Cooperation. We have a system within yoga that will help us to link ourselves to the Supreme. That cooperation is called sacrifice. So Krishna is saying here, there are demigods like Shiva, Brahma, Vayu, Surya, so many different demigods. In conjunction, in cooperation with them, there's offerings that are made. There is this reciprocation. And be thou happy with this system. If you follow this system, be thou happy. Because if you're happy by this sacrifice, its performance will bestow upon you two things. You can be materially happy by performance of sacrifice. You can be materially happy. You can also achieve liberation. Just like the previous verse said, Loko yam karma bandhana. You act and you get bound by those actions, or you act as an offering for the Lord, you can become free from those actions, liberated from those actions. So this is what Krishna is saying here. Be thou happy with this sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. And one of the things is, for living happily, is the intelligence on what it means to be living happily. Some people surmise that I'll be happy if I have a lot of money, or I'll be happy if I have a lot of fame. And then they get a lot of money or they get a lot of fame, and then they realize that this is not making me happy. So the performance of sacrifice for the pleasure of the Lord, what that will do is give us the intelligence to understand how to live a happy life. Just like in Ayurveda, what is one of the key principles of Ayurveda? Proper lifestyle, sattvic lifestyle. So when we can understand that principle, we incorporate good lifestyle habits into our life, and that'll make us healthy and happy as a result. You may not get your McDonald's burger like that, because that is not part of a sattvic lifestyle, but you will get happiness by what you offer to the Lord in honor. Okay, text 11. The demigods, being pleased by sacrifices, will also please you, and thus, by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all. Why the emphasis on kirtan? Because in Kali Yuga, the Yuga Dharma, or the sacrifice of purification, is chanting God's names. And the more we do it, what happens? Prosperity will reign for all. And the more we don't do it, the more what rains down on us is suffering. So, for instance, Prabhupada was very fond in pointing out that if we support slaughterhouses, then that's going to cause suffering, not only for the animal, but the reciprocation for supporting the slaughterhouses is we will cause suffering to human beings also. War is a direct response to the slaughtering of animals. So we're always going to be in war, some war or another. And now we have so many wars going on: Ukraine, Russia, Vietnam, Cambodia. I mean, so many different places on the face of the earth are battling, killing, so much killing going in Gaza, Palestine, Israel, Iran. I mean, there's so many hotspots in the world, all of these things. So cooperation and the cooperative spirit will lead us to happiness and prosperity. So text 12, in charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of sacrifice, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. The principle of bhakti is if we offer to the Supreme Lord, then everyone, including the demigods, are happy. So it doesn't mean that we have to offer to this demigod at this particular time, at this demigod, that demigod, etc. It means by watering the root of the tree, then all of the tree benefits. The bark, the trunk, the branches, the twigs, the foliage, the flowers, the fruits. By watering the root, it benefits. So in this particular day and age, particularly, the emphasis is on watering the root. So doing our puja, our sacrifice, our sangha in relationship with the Supreme Lord will be the cooperation that is necessary. Otherwise, Ishyavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena taktena bunjita magridha kashasvidhanam. That everything is meant as an offering to the Supreme. And if we see that with that perspective, then we will be happy. You know the literal translation to that? Ishyavasyam idam sarvam? You don't remember the literal translation? Then if one doesn't see the connection with the Supreme, then one is considered a thief in the eyes of the Lord. Then, text 13. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. What is sin? Sin has a horrible connotation because it's been Christianized, it's been anglicized, but it really means disconnect. Disconnect with the Supreme. Viyoga instead of yoga. Yoga means connection. Viyoga means disconnection. So if we don't see the relationship, the correlation between gratitude, demonstrating gratitude by first making an offering to the Supreme, then verily we are causing our disconnect. That's 13. Text 14. All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. One time in South India, I think it was the Hyderabad area, there was a devastating drought, and it was really wreaking havoc on the population down there. So one politician who recognized Srila Prabhupada as a great saintly personality, he asked, can you please perform sacrifice so that God will rain on us, will bestow us with rain? So Prabhupada told the devotees, go out and do kirtan all day. And that's what they did. And the next day it rained. So there's a direct reciprocation between sacrifice and rains, which helps everyone. Not floods. We're not talking about that. And when sacrifice is done properly, it rains properly. When there is a devastating rainfall, that means something else is going on, which is causing that in the divine order of things. 15. Okay. Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice. Just reiterating what we've spoken about, text 16. My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin, or we can say a life of disconnection from the Supreme. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain. It means they're going to cause a lot of suffering, self-inflicted suffering because of the disconnect. Text 17. But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self alone, fully satiated, for him there is no duty. It means he is connected. And the more advanced you become as a person, the more you are naturally connected in all that you do. Text 18. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. Text 19. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the Supreme. This is Karma Yoga. Without being attached to the fruit of your activities. That's literally Karma Yoga. And then 20, we'll stop here. Kings, such as Janaka, attain perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. So that means if you act in a way which is connected to the Supreme Lord, that is a practical example of yoga, of a process which is meant for humanity, giving humanity the opportunity to achieve a high level of highly elevated consciousness. That highest elevation of consciousness is prema, or love for God. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much for the opportunity to spend my evening with you this evening. Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding some of the things I've said, or if you would like to share with us your realization about something that, okay, could you show your face now so I could see your bright and beautiful faces? Thank you. Thank you.
That verse, I was in the other side of the room, and then I heard you say it, and everything is controlled and owned by the Supreme Lord. Ishava Shedam Savam.
Yes.
Ishava Shedam Savam.
Yat kincha jagatyam jagat.
Tena chak tena bunjita
Punjita magadat kasyasvid danam.
danam. Yeah. So everything is controlled and owned by the Lord, and one should only accept those things that are set aside as his quota, knowing well to whom other things belong.
Right.
Something like that.
That's a pretty good translation of that verse. Yes.
I could check it, but anyway, yeah. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
The gratitude thing is that really struck me, because it's easy to like get in a complaining mood, and you know, when you feel gratitude, because you know, it's our perception, isn't it? And like to see the cup half full or half empty, and yeah, that it's how we perceive things. Yeah, we see things in the positive, like, well, what so much Krishna has given me, you know, then our attention is more there. Yeah.
And gratitude is such a powerful force that even when things don't seem to be going right, you're still grateful. You're grateful because you know that God is not doing this to me. He's doing this for me. That there is a lesson somewhere. I may not understand the lesson right now, but there is a lesson there. And in that lesson, you know, I can make advancement. So one who's the higher elevated, more connected we become in consciousness, in our relationship with the Supreme, we see everything with a grateful mind. There's nothing not to be grateful for. Everything is a blessing. It's either a learning experience or it's a reward. And, you know, with that kind of perspective on life, you know, life is a joy. Life is a joy.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That's really helpful.
Anyone else have anything they would like to share with us? Any realization that they can add to what's been said here this evening? Please feel free to speak up and give us.
I like the point of meditation. The purpose of studying and associating is so that the mind is attached to. So that's the point, because, like you said, the time of death, you know,
that's right.
You know, the body is gonna be struggling with whatever it is, and where is your mind gonna go? You know, but if you practice, so that was powerful for me when you.
Wonderful. Yeah, and the mind is, as such, is it can be uncontrolled and be your worst enemy, Krishna says in the 6th chapter, or if it's controlled and focused, and you have the ability to concentrate on God and your relationship with God, then it's your best friend. The mind can be your worst enemy or your best friend. And it can become, the more we know someone, I love you. What's that saying? I love you. Even I know you and I know all your faults, but I still love you. Right. That's, you know, when we have friendships, we don't see things as imperfections. We see things as what makes them unique. Their imperfections are what makes them unique, makes them who they are. They are uniquely that person because of their imperfections, maybe. So, It's really flicking the switch of perception is what we're trying to do with our sadhana. And the more complete as Premarnava was just noting there, how it struck him, the more complete our understanding is, then the more complete our meditation can be. And the strength of intelligence can overrule the mind when the mind is trying to take us away from our meditation. And that's just a preliminary. It can go even beyond just taking away from the meditation. It can be all kinds of justifications for not doing our meditation. Oh, I'm tired today, and I'm this, and it gives us all kind. And then what happens is what we do, we habituate ourselves. So if we are habitually listening to the mind and buying into the mind's excuses, then what happens? Our sadhana becomes weak. We start making excuses, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm tired today, or I'm old, or I'm this, or I'm that, and I don't really need to do it." So that's a point to meditate on. So thank you, Premarnava. And anyone else have anything they'd like to share? Okay.
Yeah. When I started, chanting and, my regular kirtan practice, I noticed a very palpable difference in my life. And it was my perspective, but it was also that connection with the divine. I felt like doors just started flying open for me.
Yeah.
Because I was in sync and I was connected.
Yes. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, really, in terms of how much you can be connected to the Supreme in the course of your day. Everything starts to revolve around that perspective. And that perspective is either I'm the center of the universe or God is the center of the universe. If that perspective is I'm the center of the universe, everything revolves around your desires. If God is the center of your universe, everything revolves around the desires of the Supreme. And to know how to please the Supreme by virtue of your meditation, by virtue of your performance of puja, by performance of so many different things. Yeah. It just makes it complete, gives you the opportunity for complete meditation and strength in that meditation. So thanks, Trish. Thanks for sharing that. And if no one else has anything to say, I want to thank you for your kindness in associating with me this evening. And I hope to see some of you Thursday night in Kirtan. I know, Victor, I always look forward to your association and your musicality, but your musicality with devotion. You're a musician with the heart of a devotee, and that's always wonderful to hear. So I look forward, if you're going to be around Thursday, to hooking up with you.
I'll see you there, brother. Namah Shivaya.
Oh, Namah Shivaya. Thank you, everyone. You have a healthy, happy, and holy week.